Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up WEP Forms template and how to generate a document from Quickbase application with our WEP Forms. I will use our demo application and invoices table for this setup. This is the document that I would like to generate. You can customize your templates however you like. Let's decide what fields we're going to use on our document. If I right-click on the field, you can see the field name and field ID. I will use the field IDs on document. We have some invoice details fields as well, and I will use those fields too. And on the bottom, you can see a formula-rich text field, and I will use this field in document header. When we put our field IDs on the document, we need to make sure we type them between tilde sign. Invoice number, field ID 26, invoice date, field ID 6, and invoice total field ID 37. We will also include line items details in a table format on our document. For that, we need to create a table record first. And once we create a table record, we will have table reference, and we will place that table reference on our document. Let's create a web templates record. We will upload our document template at the end. We're going to start with adding web table record. If we look at one of our line items record, we can grab table ID and put in this field. For filter field, we will use relationship between invoices and line items table. Record ID, field ID 3 is related invoice, field ID 13 in line items. And I will also add additional condition, quantity, field ID 6 greater than 0. Since we are using record ID field from invoices table, we need to make sure we put that between tilde signs. And for additional condition, six greater than 0. And for the fields, we need to decide what fields from line item table we're going to use as table column. Again, if I right click on the field, you can see the field IDs of those fields. We will also use total shipping and line item amount. We need to make sure we put those fields in here in order that we want, and we need to separate them by dot. 23, 24, 6, 18, and 26. For sorting, you can use multiple field or single field. If you need to use multiple field, you need to separate them by dot like we did in fields. I will sort records by record ID and sorting option A for ascending. On the bottom, the first tab is grouping. I will come back to that one. Let's start with totals. Over here, if there is any field or column that you would like to see total of that on bottom of it, you need to put that field ID over here. If you have multiple fields, you can separate them by dot and use them in this field. For line item amount, field ID is 26. And we need to have label column, and we need to decide under what column we will put that label. We will put the label under one before the last column, which is the field ID 18, and that's the fourth field in this list. For total label, you can use a static text, or you can get the value from a field In that case, you need to put field ID in this field instead of static text. If we scroll down, we can set up row properties, total row properties. You can select a font that you want, font size, and you are not limited with these options. You can add more options, or you can convert a field to a numeric field so you can type the value that you want. And for the background color, I will skip that. Label alignment right, row alignment right, and for the text style, I will use bold and underline. If we go to next tab, we will decide what table properties we will use. We want to see headers and borders for that table. All these values are default values, but you can change them to any other option that you want, or you can type the values in the field. And if we go to columns tab, in this tab, we will set up column properties for each field or for each column. We need to put the field IDs in the first column in this grid edit. And order is not important. You can put them in any order that you want. If you don't create a column properties record, it will generate the document with default properties. Instead of using field label as a column header, you can put that header override text in this column. For the column width, you have total around 600 or 550 pixels. So you want to make sure you don't exceed that. For the quantity, I decide column width is 80 pixels. Description can be longer, so we will make it wider, 225 pixel. 70 for quantity, 70 for shipping amount, and 70 for total amount. And in this column, we will decide horizontal alignment. For the rest of the properties, I will set up only for one field, and I will fill down for the rest of the columns. Let's skip font color and style. If we go to header alignment, header, center, and I will use same background color that I used on my document. If I go to document and look at the background color, you can see hexadecimal color code, and that's the color that I'm using for header. Let's select different font for the header. Font size 12, font color white. Let's use all header styles option. What will I do? I will select and do field down, so they all use same properties. And we will click on save. Now we have a table record and we have a table reference, table 56. We need to put that reference on our document where we want to see that table. Now our document is ready to be uploaded into this file attachment field. Save and close. We have completed setting up our web templates and table. Now we need to create two fields in invoices table to generate the document and store that document in a file attachment field. If I go to field settings, add new fields, first one will be formula URL. And the second field will be a file attachment field. These are the two fields that I just added. I want you to remember field ID 101 for file attachment because we will use that field ID on our formula. This is our default web forms formula. I need to add a couple parameters to this formula to make sure it is pointing to right template record and fields. Our template record is 57. File attachment field that I just created is 101. Instead of generating document as PDF, you can change the letter P to W and it will generate document as a Word document and store in this file attachment. If you want to see when was the document generated, you can create a datetime field and put field ID here. We will name our document invoice underscore and you can put field value from a record and I'm using invoice number. We want to show this field as a button on the form. Open the target in a new window. Let's change the color instead of gray so it will stand out on the form. And if I refresh my invoice record, you can see those two fields that I created. When I click on this button, it will generate the document as PDF file and it will store that into this file attachment field. Here's our document and you can see the column properties that I set up. And if we go back to invoice record, you can see document was generated and stored into this file attachment field. And I used invoice number at the end of the invoice text. Now I will add grouping option to table settings. And I would like to group my line items record by product type, field ID 19. If I go to table record that I just created and grouping tab, I will group by field ID 19. Option will be ascending. Font color white. Font style bold. Background color something close to orange. And align center. If you want to see the group subtotal, you need to check this checkbox. And we save and close. Let's go back to our invoices record and generate the document again. As you can see now, we're grouping our records by product type and you can see the subtotal by each group. You always can go back, edit the record, table record, and make some changes and see the result after you made the changes when you click the generate the document. That is it, and thank you so much for watching.